Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, and we are finally back in the studio. I feel so great to kind of finally film in the studio where we have stuff to talk about. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about, but we're going to really talk about the Phoenix Suns and also talk about the StockX news that I really wanted to get to over the weekend, but unfortunately could not. So you'll be seeing these three videos coming out, more so talking about what happened between Luka Doncic, the Luka special, if you will. We got Chris Paul, and that sort of stuff. And then we also have DeAndre Ayton news in terms of what's going on with his situation. It seems like his days in Phoenix are going to be officially over. And then, like I said, we of course got the StockX news. So be on the lookout for all these three videos. Again, link will be in the description down below to access the other videos once they have come out. But nevertheless, make sure to kind of tune in, subscribe. The best way to make sure is that you hit that notification bell, you hit that subscribe button, and you also remember to kind of keep watching the channel. Again, the more views, the more that people watch the channel, the more the channel can grow and develop into something that I think could be special here on the Charge. So again, if you are interested in NBA news and rumors, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. But nevertheless, let us get started on today's first topic. I kind of want to start off with the DeAndre Ayton news. I feel like this to me is a little bit more, I would say, where did I have the news here? It must be here, right? Let me see, Real GM. Hang on one second. I do apologize for this not being ready, but here we go. So DeAndre Ayton going to get a max contract somewhere else. So DeAndre Ayton will be a restricted free agent this offseason after the Phoenix Suns were unable to sign him to an extension. Going into the season, DeAndre Ayton did not feel valued by the Phoenix Suns organization, said Adrian Wojnarowski on Monday. They were not able to come to an agreement on his rookie extension. He saw how many of the top players of his class get extensions. He wanted a max deal. He would not move off that. So now he moves towards being a restricted free agent, where of course the Phoenix Suns have the opportunity to match the contract. Team with cap space could pursue Ayton, but the Suns could also participate in a sign-and trade. I think that's more likely than not. And I just think that you're going to look at teams with salary cap, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Portland, teams that can create enough cap space to go and sign him and get sign-in trades. I think that's kind of where they're leaning towards. Maybe they go get a Damian Lillard, Oklahoma City Thunder. They could pair him up down there as well. Maybe get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. San Antonio, I'm not sure who you really... I mean, you have DeJounte Murray if you are interested in him for a sign-in trade. If the Phoenix Suns decide that they want to get assets back for Ayton, they will not to match an offer sheet and either pay him max or allow him to leave for nothing, which I think is what they won't do. There'll be a lot of conversations around the league. DeAndre Ayton is going to get a max contract in the marketplace elsewhere. Phoenix has to look at a lot of allocation financially of how they want to distribute salaries. The relationship with Monty has been one of the real benefits. I think their ability to work together and build a relationship is interesting. And of course, I could read the article on and on, but you guys aren't here to read the article. Obviously, we want to talk about the main points of this article. But here's what I have to say about this sort of situation. I think the Phoenix Suns are in a predicament here. They're in a bit of a pickle. We obviously know that they just got eliminated this past week by the Dallas Mavericks. So it'll be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. And we know that this team last year went to the NBA Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks, led 2-0, and really should have probably won the NBA championship, but they seem to have abandoned some of their offensive cues. I really look at Nick's video from B-Ball Breakdown. He does a great job of breaking that stuff down. I do appreciate his insight on that stuff. But I do think when it comes to a guy like Ayton, you have to really look at the stats and kind of value and figure out, is this guy worth bringing him in for a max contract, right? We've seen guys like John Collins get close to a max contract. And again, this is the draft where Luka got drafted, right? When we talk about players and the fit, I thought that the Phoenix Suns got a pretty good pickup here. I thought that, I think Ayton was a great pickup for them. I thought, he would add stability to this franchise, especially when this team was looking for a point guard. They already had Devin Booker, and I thought, you know what? This team could be okay. I think that this team can kind of build off those two. And it looked like it's worked, a couple years into it so far. But if we look at the stats from here on out, let's really take a look at a deep dive of DeAndre Ayton and see, is he the guy that the Phoenix Suns need him to be in order to, especially pay the max? When we're talking about going over the luxury tax, going to pay stars kind of like that superstar money, you have to really look at the financials and also look at the roster and see if this is a team that could potentially get you to the NBA Finals. Again, they did get there last year, but I thought it was a little bit of a disappointing showing for DeAndre Ayton in last year's NBA Finals. Again, we look at the stats. Obviously, rookie year. I want to say freshman year. Rookie year, 16.3 points, about 10 rebounds a game, 1.8 assists, zero point 0.9 blocks. And you can clearly see that his rookie numbers were not, I think they were good, but not the best, right? And then you go over to his, second year, third year, fourth year, like you see the numbers steadily improving. I think the interesting thing was that in last year's career game, he played 69 games. This year he only played 58. But we look at the 69 games that he played the year before. He only averaged 14.4 points per game. This was when Devin Booker was doing a lot of the scoring. Chris Paul was doing some scoring. And this is really when they were distributing the ball and moving it. Really with the Spain pick and roll was their main offense. You can clearly see that it was very effective for them. And, we really look at the situation at hand. This was probably his best, I would say, kind of role-playing year. Really shot the ball very well. And even this year, I thought he did a tremendous job. He definitely took that step up, especially when Chris Paul got there and they decided to kind of play the way that they did. The real question comes down to, is the stats, is the stuff that he's putting up on this team worth the money? We look at the kind of what he shot this year. This is kind of what he shot for the season. Shot about 63%, 70% from the playoffs. And again, not really a three-point shooter. And that's kind of where I think the DeAndre Ayton conversation starts to kind of get interesting and start to heat up a little bit more, right? Because we look at the stats from Ayton. We look at the shooting chart here. We even look at last year's stats, right? We look at the three-point percentage. Not saying that you need to be a great three-point shooter, but what I will say is that when you do look at, even the totals this year, he was 7 for 19 from three. And that was 36%, not really taking that many threes. And when you are paying somebody the max money, and when we talk about someone that you want to like break the bank for, I'm not sure that Ayton's really that guy that you want to break the bank for. Like, again, he's a tremendous player, and I think that he would make any team relatively better. Not saying that he wouldn't, but we really have to look at the facts here. Like, we really have to look at, does this guy bring enough on the offensive and defensive end to really make a huge impact in that sense? We look at guys like Ayton, only had 40 blocks in the season. I want to take a look at those stats and, kind of look at blocks per game in terms of, whoops, I'm not sure if I'm on. That must be, whoops. Take a look at, blocks per game when it comes to all this stuff. I mean, we look at blocks per game this season. I want to see if they have it for this regular season. Okay. So when we look at blocks per game, he had about 40, right? So 40, if we look at the league average, he's at 50, right? So defensively, he's not really making that much of an impact compared to, I would say, these other guys when you have guys like Robert Williams, Jaren Jackson Jr. Again, you need your guys to be very versatile. And again, I know on DeAndre Ayton shot a lot better this year. We look at the stats again. Obviously shot 17.2 or average that many points per game. We look at kind of what he did offensively, averaging 64% from 2-point land. Again, effective field goal percentage at 63. Those are great numbers, and that's something that, again, offensively he adds so much value. But the one thing that was disappointing in from Ayton was more so the offensive output in the playoffs last year. Like I talked about it in last year's kind of NBA Finals preview. Ayton to me should have done a lot better job again. Should have had a much bigger impact on that series than he really did. You had guys like Brook Lopez kind of take advantage of that. And that to me is where I look at the whole situation and really think about, like, is this guy worth the max? And again, there's a reason why Ayton only played 17 minutes in the game. Monty Williams kind of called out the front office and the management there, basically saying that, hey, this is really what's going on, and the front office is the reason why he only played 17 minutes. And again, can we blame Ayton and really the front management for the way that they lost? No, I think it just came down to they were just flat. It seems like these game sevens, and I was talking to a coach that I respect, one of my friends, Coop. Like we talked about it, and he kind of brought up the point that these game sevens sometimes can leave you flat. Like there's games where it's like you work so hard in these first two games, and all of a sudden it's just the energy's flat. There's not really that much determination and power going on, and then one team just kind of dominates, and they're like, okay, we give up. It's a give up mentality. And I just think that's what happened with Phoenix. So we'll talk about that more so when we talk about the Luka special on a different video here. But again, talking more so about this whole situation, DeAndre Ayton is a good player. Now, is he worth spending the bank and getting paying him the max, Luka money? we talk about those guys. Like, does he make that much of an impact for the Phoenix Suns, or will he make an impact like that for any organization if he does decide to sign the max or decides to sign a big deal? I'm not so sure. I think he could be definitely a tremendous player in terms of adding some value as the third or even second guy on a team. But is he going to be the guy that you pay the max and you're like, this guy is going to get me to the promised land? You know, you look at these teams around the NBA, right? We look at all the teams. There may be, like, if we look at the teams that are really competing, I think the Lakers could benefit from Ayton. I think that I think that they should be looking at that. Does the Golden State Warriors benefit from Ayton? I'm sure they do. Denver Nuggets, no. Utah Jazz, swapping out Rudy Gobert for DeAndre Ayton, does that make sense? Who knows? I mean, I think offensively it would help the Utah Jazz out a lot, but would it be defensively just harming if he was gone? The Brooklyn Nets, I think, for sure could use him. I'm just not sure what they'll be willing to trade. The 76ers, no. Celtics, no. Milwaukee Bucks, no. Chicago Bulls, another destination. Zach LaVine leaving. Can you bring Ayton in? And maybe that's the reason why Zach LaVine stays, or maybe you trade him and that's how you get Zach LaVine. Charlotte Hornets could definitely take advantage of that. And again, there's so many different teams that could take advantage, or really not take advantage, but more so use the skills of Ayton for their advantage. But at the same time, I need to see that next jump from Ayton, right? I always say it takes 4 to 5 years to figure out what type of NBA player they are. And I think Ayton's going to be a very good player. Not saying that he's going to be superstar or star player, but he is going to be a very good player for any team that's looking for that second to third option on a team. And you can clearly see that that's kind of where his plateau is. When we look back at that draft, we obviously know that Luka probably should have went number 1. And it's kind of funny that he could have been a Phoenix Sun player, and we'll really talk about that sort of situation going on for both, the Phoenix Suns and what they kind of said in their press conference. They kind of set Luka off. Excuse me. And so we'll figure it out from there. But like I said, going back to Ayton, I want to know from you guys that are Phoenix Suns fans, like, are you guys interested in DeAndre Ayton coming back to your team, or do you think that you should trade Ayton and, kind of sign somewhere else? And again, this is coming from a fan perspective. Like, I think that you probably look at trading him. I think you probably look at trying to see what deals you can get for him. Because again, is he a guy, like I said, that can change a franchise around? No, because I think that his offensive set is very limited. Again, he's very good at the stuff that he can do, right? Being an inside scorer, even stretch out a little bit into the mid-range. But when you step outside, you're going to need, especially when you're paying max money, you want someone that can really be an all-around triple threat type player. And is Ayton that right now? I don't think so. I think offensively he'll give you some stuff. Defensively, I'm just not so sure. Like, I would need to see, like, how, like, he, like, when people are getting guarded by him, what are the field goal percentages for that guy? I hate to go back to that series in last year in the NBA Finals against the Bucks, but what I will say is that I think that you look at that stuff, you see it, and you think he really should have done more in that series, and that's something that, again, kind of proves to people that are paying up there, the people that are looking at him, I think Ayton would probably be a better fit somewhere else, but we'll find out. And time will tell what happens with DeAndre Ayton. But again, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of this whole situation? If you are a team that's desperately trying to sign a center, would you get DeAndre Ayton, or would you move on and look somewhere else? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would do for DeAndre Ayton. And again, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Remember, all the likes, all the subscribers, the more that the channel grows and develops, and like I said, it's something special. And that's what I want here on the channel. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.